Do you have a big exam coming up? Welcome to the UWorld Nursing Channel. My name is Samantha, and I'm a nurse here at UWorld. We have gotten so much feedback from our nursing community about test day anxiety. Today, let's look at a few ways to get a handle on those test day jitters so you can go into your nursing exam or your NCLEX calm, collected, and focused. Our first tip is to get enough rest the night before. Some students have the urge to stay up and study until the last minute possible, and this includes staying up late into the night. Sleep is so restorative. It allows your brain time to rest and to absorb the information that you've reviewed and studied so hard. As tempting as it might be to cram up until the last minute possible, give yourself the space and the time to get a good night's rest the night before an important exam or for your NCLEX test day. Our second tip is to get going early the morning of your test and do something non-test related. It may be tempting on your test day to sleep up until the very last minute possible, especially if you stayed up too late studying the night before. Or maybe you're a fan of hitting that snooze button. Instead, give yourself an extra 45 minutes, maybe an hour of time before you leave for the exam. In this time, do something non-test related, something that relaxes you. A helpful hint here is consider doing something physical to help work off some of that stress and some of that nervous energy. An example of this would be to take a walk or go for a bike ride, maybe do some yoga. And if working out is not your thing, consider calling a friend or a family member, maybe playing with a pet. An activity that's unrelated to your exam will help get you up and going before the exam and relieve some of that test day anxiety. Our third tip is to eat a well-balanced meal. Depending on the timing of your exam, this may be a breakfast or a lunch, but whatever time it is, eat a nutritious and balanced meal. Make sure to include protein to keep you full, carbohydrates to keep you nourished, and avoid sugars to prevent an energy crash mid-test. It's also important to avoid extra caffeine. Don't overdo it on the coffee or the energy drinks. Stay in line with what your normal amount of caffeine is. So if normally you drink 2 cups of coffee or 1 Celsius, stick to that. Extra caffeine will only add to your existing anxiety. It's going to stimulate that sympathetic nervous system even more, which is going to lead to you feeling even more on edge. Our fourth tip are relaxation techniques. Consider investing in something like the Calm app. The Calm app, as well as many other similar ones that are available on the App Store, are great resources. You can even use YouTube for guided free meditations. Consider doing this pre-exam. For instance, if you did it on the way driving to your exam on the day of, or even consider using it the night before if you're having trouble winding down and getting to sleep. Another great relaxation tip is using box breathing. This is something you can do before the exam and, importantly, even during the exam. If you start to feel overwhelmed or anxiety while you're taking the test, make sure you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, release for 4 seconds, and hold for another 4 seconds. This is going to help bring your heart rate down, ease your anxiety, and allow you to recenter and refocus on your exam. Our last and most important tip is to slow down. This is great because it's another test tip you can use during the actual testing session. Anxiety is going to trigger that fight or flight response. It keeps us on edge and at the edge of our seat. We're thinking a million miles a minute with this anxiety. So it's so important to actively push back against this urge to speed up. Remind yourself throughout the test to slow down. Maybe it's every 5 questions, maybe it's every 10. One of the biggest reasons we see test takers not test as well as they practiced is due to not reading the question thoroughly and speeding through it. They may skip through the answer choices without reading all of them thoroughly. When you slow down, you can focus on each question one at a time. You can read the question in its entirety, figure out what it's asking you, and make sure that you take the time to read all of the answer choices. Even if you think you already know the answer, still take time to read each individual option. By slowing down and being thorough, you avoid making preventable test mistakes that work against you on your ultimate exam score. Nursing exams include lots of different question formats, so it's important to take time and slow down to read the question so you can realize what it's actually asking you. There are many different formats: select all that apply, priority questions, intervene questions, and the new generation style bow tie, for example. You've studied the difficult material. Don't let the simple format mistakes throw you off on your test taking. Thank you so much for tuning in today. You've worked so hard preparing for these important exams. Don't let that test day anxiety get in the way of your test day success. Whether you're in nursing school or preparing for an important exam, or you're a test prepper waiting to take your NCLEX, we hope you use these tips to absolutely cruise through your big day. Let us know in the comments when you plan to test, or maybe if you've already tested already. And follow us at UWorld Nursing on your preferred social channels so you don't miss any helpful nursing lifestyle tips in the future. Thank you so much and hope to see you soon.